Hi, I'm 𝗲𝗲𝗶𝗽𝗶. The screens that we have throughout the showroom show us doing what we do best, and that's giving back to the community. We had these two young children, and they were crowned Little Miss and Little Mr. Austintown, and they wanted pictures with us, and we got them rolling in the waiting room so people get to see us as real people and not just car dealership.
Hi, I'm Sean Greenwood. I like the technology that allows us to put our sales promotions so customers see what we have to offer them versus our competitors. We bring up employee highlights, and we like to share that with our internal employees and also our customers.
My name's 𝘱𝗲𝗋𝗿. It's really the customer service that you all provide. Also, the solutions that you all provide on the screen. So the community corner, ABN and Spectrio were a huge help in facilitating that. So it's not only just helping Greenwood from a sales perspective, but also assisting in the branding and the community aspect.
Hi, my name's 𝗱𝗲𝗹𝗶𝗽𝗀𝗵𝗶. Some of the benefits would be building relationships and having that connection with our TVs, with all the promotions and everything that's listed on them.
Hi, I'm 𝗱𝗲𝗹𝗶𝗿𝗃. We like the ability for, while they're looking at some content, and they're not seeing a commercial, they're not seeing anything else, they're seeing our offers and our people, and I think that's a big selling point for us.
All right, everyone. Hi, my name is Dave Haynes. I'm the founding editor of the 20-year-old publication 16/9. It's about digital signage. It's a publication that's now owned and powered by Spectrio. Today, we've got a great panel talking about using technology to meaningfully engage in auto dealerships with customers. And in this case, we're focused on the experience and the insights of Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, Ohio. I'll be chatting with the panelists, but if you have your own questions, there's a Q&A function at the bottom of the screen you can use to virtually raise your hand, and we will, time allowing, try to address those questions from our viewers. Can I ask each of the folks on the panel to introduce who they are and briefly run through what they do as well? And I'll start with Rick.
Hi there. Yes, I am Rick 𝗱𝗲𝗹𝗶𝗍𝗔, General Manager of Greenwood Chevrolet. And of course, I'm kind of responsible for the general operations of the dealership day to day.
Sean?
Yes, good morning. I'm Sean Greenwood, and I am the Fixed Operations Manager here at Greenwood Chevrolet. So I handle everything service, parts, and body shop related.
Maureen.
Hi, I'm 𝗲𝗏𝗋𝗆𝗿. I'm a sales manager here at Greenwood Chevrolet, and I mainly make sure that all the deals are desked and we sell cars.
Good plan. Zach.
Hey everybody, good morning. 𝘱𝗲𝗋𝗿. I'm actually not directly employed by Greenwood. I am with a company called 898 Marketing. We are Greenwood Chevrolet's advertising partner. We're a full service ad agency, and I'm an account manager. And so, I help manage projects, help with the client relationship and things like that.
All right, Samantha.
My name is 𝗱𝗲𝗹𝗏𝗍𝗶𝗿. I am Mr. Greenwood's executive assistant, and I kind of do a little bit of everything here. I handle his personal business, and then I also help with inside Greenwood Chevrolet.
All right, and finally, Lauren.
Good morning. I'm Lauren Maloney. I am the regional account manager from Spectrio. I maintain and place the beautiful content that is on their showroom screens and support it on a daily basis.
All right, Rick, can I throw the first question to you? I'd like to set the scene and kind of get an understanding of how Greenwood is using technology in the dealership, where it is, why, and how's it being applied?
Yeah, so we have screens strategically placed in different places in the dealership. We have 3 in our large waiting room. We have several in the showroom, and then service and parts. We have the screens that are showing the content that Spectrio provides, along with the things that we're putting on there that promotes our relationship with our customers and our community.
Okay. So to make this happen, you work with ABN, which is part of Spectrio. What drove that partnership, and what do you see as the benefits that you're getting out of this? And I could throw it to you, Rick, or to anyone else.
Well, you know what? I'll jump in on that. Spectrio is a great partner with us. They're responsive, they're fast, and they help us to communicate our message to our customers. And I think that's just it's so important. When when there's a lot of waiting rooms, when somebody be waiting, then they'll see a competitor's commercial on there or content that's probably not appropriate for any type of waiting room or any place in the dealership. And Spectrio really solves that problem for us.
Okay. Samantha, you're the one doing the primary programming, I understand. So could you kind of describe the mix of the content that you have on the screens and what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so I think just kind of how Rick said it, we strategically place our screens throughout the dealership. Some that are in our waiting room, you're going to see some customer testimonials. You're going to see our newly added community board back in our corner, and we're still making adjustments to that. Spectrio has been a huge help with just kind of getting that up and running. So we strategically place everything to where our customers are going to be at to receive certain information. So while our customers are in our waiting room, not only do they get to see Greenwood beyond the showroom with our community board, but they also get to see service promotions. They get to see, like I said, customer testimonials, which promotes, hey, we're, real people and we're just here to help you guys. So I think we just kind of, strategically place everything and give the information to that specific area.
I'm hearing the word strategy a lot here, and I'm curious, is the content kind of zoned thematically depending on where your customers are? So are you saying different things at different places? Like in a waiting room, a lot of those folks are existing customers, and you're kind of working towards loyalty, I would imagine there, versus people are walking in a showroom for the first time and kind of looking around going, okay, am I buying a vehicle here?
Absolutely. I would definitely say our waiting room is, kind of strategically placed. The whole corner for the community center that we have kind of going on, it's a completely separate, TV. It's a completely separate screen that has all the content. Our main TV that is in the waiting room, like I said, you'll see the customer testimonials. You will see some service, promotions going through there. And then we have a completely separate TV in that waiting room as well that goes through like service pricing and mainly focuses on that because that is where vast majority of our customers do wait when they are in for service.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, you're running operations and Maureen, you're running sales. Those are two very, I wouldn't say competing needs, but they're different needs. And do you kind of go at it differently in terms of what you'd like to see on the screens?
Definitely. I can't speak from the sales side, but on the service side, it's nice that we can put our specials out there. So like General Motors every month typically has a new special. Those are always listed up there. Some of our other maintenance menu items are always listed, right? And to go back around to one of the benefits, I guess, that I really find with Spectrio is keeping the negativity off of our screens, right? One more thing I just wanted to add. So they get to see our menus, our stuff, and we try to keep it very positive. Like there's shows on there about growing your own food, right? Or about exploring wherever, like Expedition Unknown kind of deal. But we stay out of the political side, which is nice, right? Just thinking about last year here, everything stayed geared positive. We didn't take a side. We didn't have any initiatives except for keep it informational, right? From either Greenwood Chevrolet standpoint and or broadcasting standpoint, which has been nice.
And on the sales side, Maureen?
I think it's really, really neat when there's customers sitting in the waiting room, excuse me, and they recognize the people that are showing up on our screens and say, oh, that's my salesperson, or that's my service advisor. And it just brings it all home. It closes the circle. It makes us feel like family, So with the content that runs on the screens, a lot of us are on there a lot because we are very community oriented. So we do a lot of things. And instead of seeing, like Sean mentioned, political stuff or competitor ads, they're seeing us as real people and they recognize us. And even if you're a first time person here, you're going to see how much we actually do. And Spectrio just does a great job of highlighting us in the best way possible.
I've heard that interesting dynamic a few times now through the years of auto dealerships in particular, or any area where there's a waiting room and the operator decides, okay, we'll put on broadcast TV. and we'll put on a news channel, and it's CNN, and the right-leaning people say, I don't want CNN, I want Fox. And on the other side, like, you get into all this tension that you don't want any part of. Is that something that you've just decided, you know what, as Sean has mentioned, we stay away from the politics, and this is a way to do that?
Well, I remember years ago when we didn't have Spectrio ABN and we would have broadcast TV on, and people would complain, can you change the channel? I don't want to watch People's Court, or I don't want to watch The View. So, you know, we would get that all the time. They'd be looking for remotes and they'd be trying to change the channel. They'd walk out of the waiting room. They'd be kind of disgusted. Now we don't have any of that. It's all very positive. Like Sean mentioned, there's cooking shows, there's kids on there doing things with their parents. A lot of very positive, uplifting messaging, which is much nicer. And it just blends into the background, and it doesn't create any negative feelings for people sitting there. Some people are sitting there for a long time, and they just would like the more neutral, uplifting messaging.
Now, you're using this in part for customer experience, but also to sell more stuff, basically, sell more cars, sell more service plans and everything else. How do you kind of sort through what's working? And how do you know that because we've done this, we've seen an increase in lift of a particular service plan or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think I'll jump in on that one. One of the things that you'll see on the sidebar of the screen when customers are looking at that screen in the waiting room, they'll see something about, hey, have you looked at replacing your cabin air filter, for instance? And then maybe 10 minutes later, a service advisor comes up and says, hey, it looks like your cabin air filter needs replaced. It's pretty dirty, shows them a picture of it. And I think those kind of messages help to put that thought in the customers, in the customer's thought, so that they're not totally surprised when an advisor comes to them and asks, hey, or tells them that your cabin air filter needs replaced. But those subtle messages are playing constantly on that little side screen. You've got the content that Spectrio provides, and then on the side of the main television screen there, it will show messages like that. Hey, wiper blades, cabin air filters, talks about how important it is to maintain your vehicle through safety checks and tires and even brakes. So we love that kind of content because it not only educates the customer on what may be needed either now or sometime in the future, but it helps us to sell that product.
Are you using national advertising content at all, like video from the mothership of cars, SUVs, trucks, and showing them on screens as well?
I'll jump in on that one. Yeah, that content is available in the mix. It's part of all the content that's running on the screens. It's not it mostly runs, I believe, in the showroom. It's not necessarily the primary thing. We want to keep things kind of focused on Greenwood and what Greenwood is doing. So it is there for sure. It's part of the rotation, but it's not the most kind of prominent piece of content that's running in rotation on the screens.
One of the challenge for any business, if they're using digital signage, is they have to feed the content beast. You've got all these screens, and you can't just put content up on there and leave it for several weeks or several months even, which happens. How do you guys kind of figure out what that editorial and marketing calendar looks like? And how do you populate it? Do you outsource it to Zach's company? Is some of it done internally? Or are you using templates? I know that's a bunch of questions, but somebody can jump.
I can jump in a little bit on that. We work very closely with Lauren, and when we do something in the community, like let's say the Panerathon, which is a walk for breast cancer, we will give her footage of that, and she gets together with Zach and they make sure that that's updated. So you're not going to come in here and see 3-year-old content. Lauren and Zach work very closely together. I know I'm speaking for them, but they work very closely together based on the information that we give them to maintain fresh, new content as it comes across.
Just to kind of add
Zach?
to that
Yeah,
too.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
Nope, go ahead.
Just to kind of add to that too, we are and Maureen kind of alluded to this. We're constantly working on new content, new video content, and things like that. The sales team is always involved, and so we always make sure that these screens in the dealership and that Spectrio is part of that mix. So when we create a new video spot that's going to be running on television and on CTV, well, we have to make sure it's also running on Spectrio. So that helps us also keep that content fresh, keep it going, keep something new. We want it to run long enough for the message to be impactful, but not so long that the message starts to get stale. And so that's kind of the way we view it. But ABN is always part of that content rotation every time we refresh our spots, our video spots.
Is that important? And I'll ask Lauren this as well, that having a special purpose kind of channel and focus, which ABN has, is quite a bit different from just buying a piece of software or leasing a piece of software to manage your dealer displays. If you have something that's already tuned to the auto sector, is that advantageous? It just makes your job easier?
Absolutely.
Lauren, I'm
Absolutely,
curious.
it does. I mean, we work very well together. So, I mean, getting the information from Zach, from Maureen, I mean, I've got messages from them to get things up on the screens, and using our creative team here at Spectrio. And I mean, it's very advantageous. It's that they're just very wonderful to get the information to me. They're fast, they're quick, and yeah, it's very advantageous.
Rick, does there has to be something of a delicate dance in terms of just how much promotion, how many calls to action that you're pushing out on screens, because people want to have a good experience, but they don't like to be sold to all the time?
Absolutely. And I think that's important. It's very subtle, and it's not constantly selling that. In fact, that's not part of our culture or marketing message here at the dealership. We are very highly community. We have a high level of community involvement, and we like to highlight that. And then every now and then you'll see a little message, about your tires, about educating and educating our customers on some of the things that they need to do to maintain their car. And also you'll see our actual ads for selling a vehicle every now and then. It's not constant. And so I think that's extremely important. Zach will probably agree with me that you just don't want to pepper the customers with marketing messages all the time.
Yeah, they
For
get
us,
enough of that.
Yeah, the most important thing is to give them a good, solid message that builds relationships long term, not just for sale today.
Is that long-term relationships thing, is that a big driver behind all the community work that you do on the screens?
Absolutely. That is something that we take great pride in. We involve ourselves in just about everything in our local community, and we're not just providing financial support, but a lot of our employees get personally involved with those things, and that's part of those messages that appear on the community board as well.
Sean, are you doing any work on the screens related to talking less so to your customers and more so to your staff?
Not to my knowledge, no. The talking to the staff, we'll have an appointment board down here in service. That's probably about the biggest thing. We have 2 of those down here that customers can see, so they can see their name up on the appointment board. That feeds directly from our DMS, which is nice. Other than that, it's just basically for us down here that customers see. It's more about maintenance schedules and different branding, just Greenwood Chevrolet branding material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic in something like an auto dealership because I don't imagine there's a whole bunch of people who are sitting for very long. You're constantly on the go, running between areas and talking to people and a whole bit. So, uh, desktop messaging and all that might not be as impactful as it would be in a traditional office environment. But if you got screens, people are going to see what those service specials are, see what's going on, and also, like Rick was saying, it can remind you of all the great community work that we're doing.
Correct. Yep, I agree.
Do you have any sense of impacts of this? There's always the discussion around, okay, we're doing this. We've got to allocate resources to it. There's financial costs to do it. What's the ROI on it? Who wants to field that one?
I can jump in a little bit on that. You know, you had mentioned that earlier. How can you track, you know, how it's working? I can just say, because I sit really close to the waiting room, and you don't hear this very often at other places, but people actually look forward to sitting in our waiting room. Not only do we have snacks and we have nice messaging, but they know that they're not going to be bombarded with a bunch of political stuff, and it's they're nice messages, they're very positive. So people actually look forward to sitting in our waiting room because it's nice. It's not it's not going to be a time where you're going to get harassed by politics or somebody coming in trying to sell you something. And it just, and for me, I hear that a lot, that, oh, I know where your waiting room is. I like your waiting room. So if you asked me to quantify it, I would say that people don't say, oh, darn, I have, you know, I got to go sit and listen to all that nonsense in there. So that's kind of what I can hear from where I sit.
I would like to jump in on that. Every time I do visit the dealership, and I've been in the industry for quite a while, and it's always peaceful. It's quiet. It's not stressful. And even if a service advisor or if Sean comes out to talk to a customer about an issue that they're having, it's almost it's very positive. It's not oh, I have to spend another X amount of dollars, or you know, I'm mad about it. It's just it's relaxing, and it's always busy. Every time I come in, there's always somebody in there, and they just look comfortable. It's a very nice place to go into if you have to have service.
And a lot of our salespeople will actually, will actually see their customers in the waiting room, and they'll go in and sit down and have a conversation with them, have a coffee with them. So it is like Lauren said, it's a very peaceful, we try to make sure that it's peaceful in there. And I love to watch our salespeople actually interact with service customers while they're getting an oil change. Because again, it's building those relationships and fostering them.
What led the dealership down the path of introducing digital signage and screen technology? Was it, were you inspired by other dealerships doing this, or was this kind of an internal decision that, you know what, this is another way that we can communicate and, you know, de-stress some areas or maintain the peace, so to speak?
I can jump in on that one. I think personally, I think it was just a combination of everything. When we started working with 898 Marketing, you know, when you get a marketing agency involved, they are very digital oriented. They kind of just shed new light on certain things that maybe we wouldn't think of. So I think getting 898 involved really kind of sped up the digital side of things. And then also, I think we just realized, you know, especially like after COVID, the way of communicating with people has changed. Obviously, technology that we're using right now, you know, Zoom, that became a huge thing during that time. And I think it just kind of keeps our customers engaged a little bit differently. And I think that, you know, to stay up with the time, you definitely want to evolve with it.
Is there much of a I guess what I'm wondering is how difficult, if I'm a dealership who's hasn't really introduced much beyond like cable TV in the waiting room, for them to have a broader spectrum of digital around their environment. How much of a project is that? And did it help to go through, as we were saying earlier, a company like Spectrio and ABN that is kind of already dialed in on auto dealer, that environment?
I'll jump in on that question. There is a lot of strategizing that goes in behind it, right? There's a lot of determining what digital channels are going to work best, are going to be most effective. Of course, every dealership is kind of different. Every business is kind of different. And it does take time once you identify those channels and hone in the strategy. It does take time to start seeing the desired results. It's not like you're going to start, running display ads or start running CTV ads on Hulu, and then, the next day, the doors are going to start swinging open, and there's going to be people flooding the dealership. No, it's going to take a little bit of time. So, I guess the short answer to that question is, um, it takes a little bit. There's a little bit of strategizing behind it. There's identifying the right channels, and then there's actually executing on the strategy, which requires a bit of a certain level of patience before the results start coming in. Now, it's absolutely worth it, and I think we've seen that with Greenwood, the results that we're able to be that we're able to deliver, and at the end of the day, the sales that we're able to deliver. But so it takes some time, but it's certainly worth the added investment.
Is it complementary to other efforts that the dealership is making in terms of social media, web, really any even broadcast, I suppose, or is this a very much a siloed activity?
100%. Everything we do, kind of works in tandem.
Okay.
So I think a great example would be right now, actually. Every year around this time, we usually run an auto show campaign. I think this is the perfect example of this kind of, we call it like an omni-channel approach. So with the auto show, we have kind of our general theme, which is obviously, the auto shows in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, because that's just, the part of the country that we're in. We start by planning out what that creative is going to look like. I think every year that we've been a part of this, it's looked a little bit different. We've done everything from big, huge, super expensive shoots down in, the Hummer building here at the dealership that we use for a lot of video content to, some more kind of straightforward, get the sales team involved kind of stuff. So we first determine that. And then once we get things kind of honed in from a visual, creative kind of perspective, and we actually start producing the material. So that would include video, which that video would of course run on TV. It runs on social media, both organic and paid, and then it runs on CTV, like those Hulu type of ads, and then of course it goes to Spectrio, and we get that up on the screens within the dealership, and that kind of becomes, obviously the final touch point, right? That customer is coming into the dealership. They're sitting here now and they're seeing this ad. And then of course we have display ads that go on top of it. We have static social media ads. So it's not necessarily, a video, that's playing. We have static ads as well. And so it's very much, when we do these kind of, we'll call them campaigns, when we do these campaigns, it's very omni-channel. We're very consistent with it across the board, and we make sure that we're hitting all our bases, whether it's standard traditional TV, whether that's social media, with Spectrio in the dealership, making sure we have our bases covered there, and then with our CTV as well. So we're consistent in hitting all of our channels.
Right. We've got a couple questions in from listeners or viewers, I guess. I'll kind of dovetail with what you were talking about, Zach. One of the viewers is asking what your working relationship is with Spectrio and with the dealership, and how is all that managed as a couple of different disparate third parties?
Yeah. So I will say that the relationship that we have had with ABN and Spectrio over the years has been outstanding, and I think it's really through that kind of uh, customer service and attention to detail that we've been able to kind of blend these three, different organizations, these three parties into really almost one entity, right? And so it started, I've been with 898 for it'll be about 5.5 years, and I think one of the first people that I ever met, and I've been, working on the Greenwood account pretty much since I started, and I think one of the first people that I met, even before formally meeting some of the salespeople and some of the other staff at the dealership, was actually Andrew McGraw at ABN, who I know Lauren's laughing, who she knows very well, but and so, him being one of the first people, that we were able to meet really kind of set the stage and helped us understand the value that ABN and Spectrio provides. And so from there, it's really just making sure that we're all kind of in lockstep and key. So when we go and strategize campaigns and come up with creative ideas with the team at Greenwood, we have to make sure that content also gets sent to Lauren and the team at ABN. It also helps that Lauren is in the dealership as often as she is. We have team members here or from 898 that are also in the dealership, and so the lines of communication are always open. And we always, ABN, like I said, when we're coming up with these campaigns and these strategies, ABN is on our list of channels that this needs to go to, and so it's really it's not super difficult to maintain that line of communication. And like I said, we're three separate entities that it really feels like, we're one team, working towards a goal
Right.
here.
Lauren, because ABN has been mentioned several times, maybe it'd be useful to kind of parse out Spectrio and ABN and what the ties are there and what ABN is.
So ABN is the Automotive Broadcasting Network. Spectrio obtained them actually before I came on board. I've only been on board with ABN for a little over a year and a half now. But we are there to maintain General Motors content as well as broadcasting, again, their messages. Their messages are the most important part of what I do on a daily basis for them. So ABN is there for the auto manufacturers and for the dealerships.
So it's kind of a special purposes content channel,
Yep.
aims very specifically at the auto dealer sector.
Yes.
And Spectrio acquired them. So Spectrio is content management platform and overall solutions platform that has within it a specialty in automotive, as I
yes.
understand it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Good. I also have a question about for the Greenwood team. How hands-on are you with the day-to-day management of your content, and how much time do you spend on it in a given week? That's probably Samantha.
I would say it's not too much time. I think once you have that balance, like Zach said, working with the three entities, once you have that communication that is opened so well, it kind of seems like you really don't spend much time on it because all three networks are working together. So, if Zach is, filming something with 898, they're constantly, communicating with Greenwood Chevrolet on it. And we obviously know ahead of time. And like Zach mentioned, ABN powered by Spectrio, that is in our back pocket at all times. So as soon as something gets taken care of here, we pass it on to ABN to go ahead and get it up on whatever screen is, whatever's needed. So I would say, between the three companies and the three entities, maybe a couple hours a week. And it just also depends on what is happening at that time. I know 898, they take a lot of time, getting our auto show commercials up and running. So they probably spend a little bit more time getting content ready versus, something that we kind of do personally at the dealership. So I would say it just kind of depends on what you guys are running and what you're, wanting to kind of integrate into your company.
There are probably viewers who work in this sector and are curious about how they would integrate this technology into their dealership. Rick, Sean, Maureen, I guess really everybody, would you have some advice for a dealership who's just now starting to look at this, or maybe thinking of changing up what they already do? What are the things they need to think about, and what's the best approach?
I'll jump in first on that. One of the things that is really important to us, there's two things. We feature people. When the content from us that we provide, we have employee interviews, sitting down so they get to know their employees, our team members here. They get to know how long they've been here. You can see it on the screen, and it kind of just humanizes the whole operation. Then we have customer testimonials on there. When you ask for ROI, sometimes I'll see a customer in the middle of the showroom just looking at somebody that they recognize that person, who's given a wonderful testimonial for the dealership and their experience here. So those things, I think, just play really well into what Spectrio does with our messaging on the screen. That personal touch from not only our team, but our customers that are giving just beautiful testimonials on their experience here at the dealership. I think that is so key and so important. And it just plays into our community involvement and everything else that we do, and the type of brand that we have here at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Anybody else?
I would say that if you're just going to be starting the process, look at the things that you do in your dealership that focus on your culture and try to incorporate that. Think about that when you're strategizing how to work ABN Spectrio into your marketing or campaigns, because I think a lot of that was done with us, because the community involvement is so important that we made sure that that was one of the things that we had to make sure was on all of our messaging, the community involvement. And like Rick said, meeting our staff and having those interviews. So I think the first thing that you have to do is figure out as an organization, what's the most important things that you want to showcase about your dealership. And then you can have a seamless conversation with Spectrio and ABN about how to get that messaging out, I would say.
Yeah, it's a great reinforcement. I've seen this through the years of companies that invest in digital signage technology and screens around whatever working environment they have, but they think of it as a technology project. And it's not. That part is really important. That's the underpinnings of it. But it's all about the content. If you don't have the right message on there, you've just got a bunch of screens. You really got to think through why you're doing this, what you want to communicate, what you want to see out of it.
And Spectrio ABN will help guide you. So they'll give you the tools that you need to incorporate what you want and guide you. So you won't be alone in the process. They'll tell you how to maneuver.
Lauren, I'm curious, when you speak to a potential customer, what's that first question that you're asking them?
Well, I'm more on the account management side.
Okay.
I'm not in the sales side, but
Gotcha.
it's more of a feature and benefit. To be honest with you, it's how can we help you grow your business? How can we help you expand your message? And it's all about just making that dealership shine. It's all about broadcasting their message. It's all about them. So I personally I maintain the account. I make sure everything is up and running, current, and displaying the proper content at that point in time.
All right. Well, this has been great. If you want to learn more, there are some great resources available at spectrio.com. And if you need a brand new Chevy vehicle or truck or SUV, you got to go in and see Maureen, right, in Austintown, Ohio.
Yeah. Please
Thank
do.
you very much for spending the time with us. And we'll cue up a closing video here.
Every time we do something for the community, Lauren is quick to change the TV screens to show and reflect the things that we've done. And people actually stop and watch and take a look, and it's really cool to see that.
I like the technology that it gives us for having the programming geared towards more positive programming that we can put out there for our customers.
The partnership itself has just been fantastic.
We really enjoy our relationship with Spectrio. So they're seeing our offers and our people, and I think that's a really big selling point for us.